This is Kristen from the Docs team.
So yeah, my name is Kristen Lowy. I am a tech writer on the Docs team, and like Dan said, I'm going to be demoing new collapsible sections in the Docs. But I did want to note that while I'm the person demoing this new functionality, my role in this was mostly just connecting the dots between other people who had the ideas and did the things.
First of all, it's so Kristen to give a shout out to everyone else who did the work, and
Yes.
she's demoing, and I know that it's a big team lift. I I love our Docs team. I just want to I kind of want to stop
They're
for a second.
they're amazing.
The amount
So
of
amazing.
the amount of care and craft that goes into building the docs, but also
Yeah.
the the product knowledge that has to exist. They're not just
Yeah.
they're not typing. They are incredible. The depth of knowledge that they have and the way that they
Oh
care
yeah.
about making that usable in the docs. Anyway, sorry, that's
And Kristen's been here for over 4 years, so like the amount of Netlify knowledge in her head is
yeah, amazing. Okay, sorry, I just had to interrupt just for the sake of shouting them out again. Let's get back to it.
So earlier this year, in the Q1 System Usability Scale Survey ran by Emily on the UX research team, we got a customer comment asking us to make the docs easier to read and suggesting that we provide only what is relevant. Around the same time, Jessica on the docs team shared on Slack an example of collapsible toggles used for progressive disclosure in the Gatsby docs. So here we have more information about how to add a plugin to your site for folks who aren't already familiar with that process. This kind of collapsible section is useful in a variety of scenarios. Like this example, the hidden information could be extra background context for more novice users, or the information could be something like a long code sample that details how to achieve a particular use case with a feature. Whether the information is targeted at more novice users or more advanced use cases, the point is that the information is important for the success of a subset of readers, but there's also a significant portion of readers who will want to skip over it. So I saw the docs inspiration shared by Jessica as a possible solution to the user problem highlighted by Emily. So I filed a docs issue connecting those two things. And that issue sat in our backlog for a few months until the Improved Compute project gave us a reason to prioritize it. In planning the docs updates for the new functions API, one of Eduardo's goals was to keep the docs as concise as possible so people could get up and running with the V2 API very quickly. The V1 functions docs had some really long code samples that, while useful, took up a lot of space on the page, which could make it hard to navigate and also make it seem more difficult to get started with a feature than it really is. As an example, here is the Lambda compatible streaming docs where we have one simplified example that quickly demonstrates streaming but doesn't represent a realistic use case. So it's supplemented with another longer example that involves a third-party API to demonstrate a more realistic use case. This just becomes a lot to scroll through for people who aren't interested in streaming and could be overwhelming on first glance to someone who is interested in streaming. So it'd be great to be able to put the supplementary extended code sample in one of those collapsible sections for progressive disclosure. So we talked about how we could get the doc site enhancement implemented on a timeline that would work for the Improved Compute project. And we decided to go to design office hours to get some just-in-time design help for the collapsible component. We met with Prabhav, who gave guidance on the main elements we would need to make the components efficiently usable. And he also had some ideas for future nice-to-have enhancements that could be added later as time allows. More on that later. So with the design guidance in hand, Lucas was able to start implementing the feature, and along the way, he addressed some emergent usability concerns that we didn't think about until the thing was actually available to start playing with. So one of the things he did, for example, is make it so that when you open a new collapsible section on a page, any other previously opened collapsible will close again. And the point of this is that if somebody goes down a page and opens up a bunch of collapsible sections, it would be a lot to scroll back through if they want to get back to the top of the page. So
I wish every toggle on every page did this. That's amazing.
So I like that thoughtfulness as well. I'm curious about that one because I definitely do that. I definitely go through and close other things to make it more readable. I'm wondering in the context of docs if sometimes you do want to have more than one thing.
Oh, that's a good call.
I don't know. This is one of those things that we'll
have to get
figure out when we start using it and people start using it. I'd be curious. Hey, maybe this is a good way for us to get more feedback.
Yeah, seriously.
Once it's rolled out, I'd be very curious.
Yeah, comment below.
Yeah.
Yay or nay?
Are we going to become influencers through this? We need to learn how to say
I
things like
I
like and subscribe.
barely influence even myself, so I highly doubt it. But I'm a big toggle fan. I like as soon as we got toggles for Markdown, and like my Notion docs are only toggles. Like I love a good toggle.
My Notion docs are only toggles. Oh, what's in there? Nothing. It's just another toggle. Oh, what's in
Just
there? Another toggle.
click if you want to know. What is it? I mean, that's what is the term? Double click, but don't double click because it'll just immediately close it again. So just single click.
This first of all, how brilliant is Kristen and the way that she presents these things?
I can't believe it. It's like telling a story, and like she doesn't like. Yeah, I have to edit videos to get rid of my typos, let alone the way I talk. I bet she never makes a typo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's one of the skills you need to be a technical writer. But this is such a good example of how much the word "just" kind of dangerous and kind of doesn't really acknowledge how much goes into something, because this is just adding an expandy collapsy toggle on a page, but the amount of thought that's gone into this and how many people have put kind of justifications and ideas on how it should be used and why, and it's such a good example of the thoughtfulness that goes into making something seem simple, which feels like a regular theme. Okay, should we go back to her? Let's keep going.
Adding in that little usability enhancement. And then after a code review from Sean Davis and a stakeholder review from me, the component is now ready to use in the customer-facing docs, and we've already published some content using it. So here in the B2 functions docs, our original use case for it, we have the streaming examples now tucked away in a little collapsible and further tucked away using a multilingual code block within the collapsible. So it's nice and concise for anybody who just wants to skim over that and get to learning about background functions. And we also have one of these for a different use case in the caching docs, where in the content about varying by header, there are some limitations to standard request headers. Those are tucked away because it's kind of a long list. And for folks who are interested in only varying on their custom business headers, they don't care about the standard request header limitations. So we do have a few ideas for how to improve this progressive disclosure experience in the future. One example is that Prabhub suggested we have badges for common collapsed content types to visually set expectations of what's inside and draw a bit more attention for people scanning the page. So for example, we might have a badge that says code sample to help catch the eye of people who are scanning for code blocks. But though there's room for further improvements, I'm so excited to be able to use these collapsible sections in the docs for progressive disclosure now. The Apex team.
Okay, we're rolling straight on to Amberly. I love that last little detail as well about the idea of adding the little badges to let you know what's in there, because I often go hunting. You kind of like, what's in there?
Yes,
and you like
exactly. Yeah.
and just knowing straight away, really cool.
It's funny. I always used those. So in Markdowns in particular, I would always use in README files. I would use that detail because in Markdown,
You use one of those.
yeah, I'm not just doing my like K-pop poses. It's my angle brackets. Oh man, there needs to be a K-pop song about angle brackets. But anyway, like I always use the detail section for like graphs or like images, where it's just like here's the words, but also like here's an image. So and it's just like one of those things too in the documentation. Like you don't want to be scrolling forever.
Yeah.
And so like that's it's like another really great architectural like distinguishers, because you have your side nav to break things down, but now if you can make it even more succinct and easy to navigate by having those have less to scroll because you have those big long sections like Lambda streaming like tucked away in there. I love that.
Yeah. I remember when I first started playing with Netlify, I think I read the docs from start to finish because the product was much smaller then, and and that's really enticing when the docs are short and you kind of end up like hunting for more.
Yeah.
Like, what else is there? I want to learn even more.
Yeah.
And it's so intimidating when it's just a giant wall of text. But of course, the product's so sophisticated now, and there's so much to it that it's really hard to avoid that. So I think this is a great tool for helping condense things down, make it really approachable, and then allow people to, go hunting for the the more detail that they need, and this kind of progressive disclosures is a lovely pattern.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like you get your choice, like you choose your own adventure. Like, do you need an even more in-depth code example, or are you ready to go? And let's get the feedback. Comment below.
Comment below. I'm really curious now that that's out there.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, should we hear what Amberly has to say?
Actually, so I'm a jerk and I have to go.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize I had a 10 o'clock meeting. That was great. Thanks, you too.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.